Morning, folks. How are we all this morning? I hope we find you well. I hope I find you well. As you can see, the table cat's not on the table because the sun's out, which means he's lying under the south-facing window, soaking up a few rays. So, co-presenter's pissed off. Anyway, let's get Facebook on board, then we'll get started. Oh, I hope you all get a chance to see that debate in the Parliament on transgender rights or on gender. What a spectacle to behold that was. Oof. I thought Kimmy Badenoch and Lee Anderson particularly played a poor game. Lee Anderson, can a woman have a penis? Well, technically, Mr. Anderson, the answer to that is yes. That's what gender reassignment surgery does. It either takes away or makes. So technically, Mr. Anderson, the answer to your question in Parliament yesterday was yes. Wow, what a fucking muppet. I see young Reagan Elites the other day. Great show last night on the Supreme Court ruling on gender and on Trump's tariffs. And we'll get a bit more about both of them in the newspapers this morning, which is interesting. Right, first the Facebookers are on board. Hi Duke, how are you this morning? Hope you're well. Hi Margaret. See you tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow evening. Looking forward to it. Should be a good weekend. For your information, folks, right after the show tomorrow, David will be parking the car, picking the wife up to work and heading off for a weekend with some friends. And should be good fun. I may well be cancelling Monday morning's show, but we'll see. Right. We'll see what happens. Might actually date you with the location we're at. We'll make that decision tomorrow morning. Okay. Right. Let's get this broadcast underway. It's Indy Truck Davy out the truck, not home, in his office in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire, where it is a beautiful morning at the moment. Bright, clear, 10 degrees. Not bad. Not bad at all for the 24th of April, 2025. Right, let's get on with it. First up this morning is the Rancid Record, and it has kids waiting years for diagnosis. Main headline, autistic children lost by NHS. Well, I haven't heard about the NHS misplacing any children. Human beings are quite hard to misplace. So they are. And I haven't heard of the NHS losing or misplacing any children. But I did have a wee look into this headline, and the average waiting time for diagnosis as autistic here in Scotland, the average waiting time is between 12 and 18 weeks, which is within guidelines. But there are some people who wait years. But when we look at what the clog up is, it's actually the GP surgeries. When parents take a young child in and say, I think this child's autistic, the GP runs a couple of basic tests and tells them to get him and forget about it, just a naughty kid or something like that. But there are people waiting a long time, some of them up to 3 years apparently. But it's funny when we get this stuff in the headlines, it's because some arsehole has went and looked for those who have fallen through the cracks, as opposed to looking at the majority. Very easy type of journalism to do. A wee advert out in your paper. If you waited longer than 18 weeks for a diagnosis, and the ones that slipped through the cracks will pop up. But according to what I'm being told on the internet and on the quick research I did into this morning, the average wait is between 12 and 18 weeks. The target is 18 weeks. The average wait is between 12 and 18 weeks. What's interesting is, in England, The target's 12 weeks. But to be honest, they're no faring any better than the rest of the UK when it comes to diagnosing autism. Okay. Right. Next up's the Scotsman. I'll stick it up for you. The Scotsman has single-sex toilet order for schools. Lawyers say Borders primary care will have primary case will have far-reaching effect, not won't. And the judge who has made this judgment on the primary school having to have single-sex toilets, he's wrong. According to the Supreme Court judgment, all that institution is going to do is declare that it accepts trans people as their assigned gender. That's all. That's all they've got to do. So that headline is nonsense. And apparently the SNP have U-turned on car sales restrictions when it comes to petrol and diesel cars and the phasing out of petrol and diesel cars. That's the byline in the Scotsman, so let's take that down. Quite a varied bag this morning. Quite a varied bag. Next up we have the Herald. What's the Herald got for us this morning? Law body and blasted Chapman over bigot remarks on trans ruling. As if Maggie gives a fuck what the legal fraternity's got to say. As if she cares that lawyers are no happy that she's a blast at the judges in the Supreme Court. I think she's wrong in this one. But the way this ruling has been portrayed has been inaccurate in the press and damn right dishonest for our politicians. This ruling doesn't give the definitive on what is male and what is female. What this ruling tells us is that the idiots writing the 2010 Equalities Act had forgotten that 6 years earlier they'd written the Gender Recognition Act. That's what this ruling tells us, and it applies to only one piece of legislation. And that one piece of legislation needs to be rewritten. Simple as that. But it does tell us about the ineptitude of Westminster as a legislating body. Because after writing the Gender Recognition Act, 6 years later, they write another piece of legislation which actually forgets that they'd written the Gender Recognition Act 6 years earlier. This is a queer sign of how, as a legislator, Westminster is fucking inept. Simple as that. I say Chapman's wrong in this one. But there's no telling Maggie. There's no telling Maggie that she's wrong in this one. And if she was here, she'd have a right ding-dong with me about it too. Because that's Maggie. That's the sort of person she is. But she is wrong in this one. Everybody's overreacting to this. And that debacle and that poor quality legislator on this subject, with Bideman demanding that Starmer defines a woman, and Lee Anderson asking if a woman can have a penis. Fuck's sake. How far down the moral fucking sinkhole have you got to go to drag these idiots into that legislator? Fuck. But as I say, this whole story is a story of the legislator in Westminster being inept. Writing one act 6 years earlier, forgetting you wrote it, and writing another one, which totally null and voids the first one, it's ineptitude, folks. Let's be clear about this. And as for this nonsense, as Margaret Brand has put into the comments, it's a distraction. Distract us off with the fact that we're all getting fucking poorer, the cost of living crisis is deepening, and we're heading for a recession. Technically, we'll be in one for about 3 or 4 years, but we're heading for a recession, apparently. Yeah. But this nonsense has got to stop. The way this ruling has been portrayed in the press, and the way these muppet politicians are playing about with it, bears no relevance to the judgment handed down by the court. None. The court didn't define anything. It translated a piece of legislation and said, in our opinion, this was written with only two genders in mind, two biological sexes in mind. That's all. It only applies to that one piece of legislation, which means that that one piece of legislation was badly written and needs to be re-fucking drafted or amended. It's no biggie. As Margaret has said there, this is a distraction. Truth is, judges have pointed out this legislation is a poor bit of fucking legislation, badly written, and it doesn't work with the 2004 Gender Recognition Act. It needs to be rewritten or amended. Simple as that. Well, this for you, for Ori and shite, that's exactly what it is. It's bollocks. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Right, next up we have the National, I believe, so let's look. No, it's the Looney Ragby Express. 3, 4, yep, the Looney Ragby Express. What's the Looney Ragby Express got for us this morning? Let's stick it up. Anyway, Kemi blasts at Starmer for lacking moral courage to express his views on gender row. It's no row. It's a decisive interpretation of a poor piece of legislation by the Supreme Court. And main headline, the truth is he doesn't have the balls. And as I say, that was her yesterday, making an absolute arse of herself. Can you define a woman? Define a woman based on what? Oh, based on the 2010 Equalities Act. Aye. According to that act, it's a biological person. According to the earlier act, it's whatever gender is assigned you. Or whatever gender you want to be assigned as. Fucking nonsense. Oofed. Absolute fucking nonsense. As I say, but if you've seen the debate, that was horrendous to watch. And it was an absolute example of how trivial and how poor that legislator down that road has become. It's not a serious parliament. It's a fucking sideshow that's playing with 65, 70 million people's lives, this fucking sideshow. And it's killing a lot of them, this fucking sideshow. This government doesn't function the way a government's meant to. That fucking legislator doesn't function the way a legislator's supposed to function. It's there to serve the people, guide the people, nurture the people, educate the people, look after their health. It's not there for this nonsense. But what we've got is absolute procrastination on the duties of a legislator. That's why we've got kids that are fucking hungry. We've got grannies starving. We've got parents fucking skipping meals and going to food banks even though they've got jobs. We've got no national security. The health service is in decline. The education services are in decline. That's the things that this fucking legislator should be concentrating on. Should be concentrating on halting the economic, moral and intellectual decline. But that's not what it's fucking doing. What it's doing is asking, do you have a willy or no? Fuck. Here a rant for you smaller folks. A rant for you this morning. This one's really getting on my fucking nerves. The legislator in Westminster is fucking broke. The debating chamber where they make our laws has turned into a fucking circus. And the main primary objectives of government have been fucking forgotten. And that has led to the economic, moral and intellectual decline. Let's put up the national. What's the national vote for us? Dancing to Farage's tune. Sarwar accused of ditching key EU alignment policies. I guess you get another directive to the fucking head office telling them we're ditching EU, we're getting aligned with America, eh? As Rachel for accounts is there in fucking Washington negotiating to bring us shite, oversized fucking trucks instead of cars that don't go round corners and don't fit in our windy wee roads and don't fit in our supermarket car parking spots and chlorinated chicken. And down here we've got John fucking wasting everybody's time with his fucking silly conference on halting the right. I'll tell you how to halt the far right, John. Get us out of this fucking union. Scotland's a naturally left-leaning country. Whereas we've seen, with the rise of the right in England, that England is naturally a right-leaning country. Because when it comes to how they're going to vote at the next general election, they haven't picked a progressive party like the Greens or a down-the-middle party like the Lib Dems. No, they've picked Farage and a far-right bunch of nutjobs. Like the clown Lee Anderson, who was asking the totally stupid question yesterday of, can a woman have a penis? Yes, Mr. Anderson, yes, that's what gender reassignment operations are about, you fucking muppet. It's about reassigning gender. Female to female, female to male. What bit do you not get? Fucking 30p, you fucking idiot. No wonder I'm angry as the day, folks. Having to watch absolute intellectual dwarfs in that fucking legislator is enough to make you want to bang your head off a fucking wall. And I mean intellectual dwarfs. And as to John, he's just fucking marking time. You want to get rid of the right, John? Let's cut ourselves free for the right-leaning country next door. I feel sorry for the vloggers and the liberals on YouTube. No wonder they've all ended up on YouTube. There's no space for them in the mainstream. That's for sure. There's no space for them in the mainstream anymore. The liberals in England, they're fucking, you're gone. You get off to YouTube, you're not getting a voice. Go make yourself a podcast that nobody's going to hear. You're not getting a voice, liberals in England. But the people have spoken, and they are definitely leaning to the right, but they've always been slightly right of centre. Nowhere near what we're seeing now, but slightly. They've always been conservative, if you like. Whereas here in Scotland, we've leaned the other direction. Okay, let's move on. I'm on a roll this morning, folks. What nonsense has the Times got for us a fucking day? They want people stop reading the newspapers. They're not there to inform anymore, they're just there to set a fucking stupid narrative every day. A distraction. Right, ministers prepared to cut car and farm tariffs to ease US trade. Now we know why. Anna Sawa has turned his back on the EU. And Zelensky is key obstacle to peace deal, says Trump. Trump, I don't think you're paying attention, you fucking dickhead. You've been cut out in the negotiations. Putin's decided you're a spanner and he's no talking to you. So he sent his delegation to London to speak to some fucking grown-ups. Because there's no doubt Putin's wanting a respite, a way out. And apparently a daily dose of peanuts can help overcome lethal allergy. So there you go. That's the nonsense in the fucking Times a day. What's a daily fail got for us? You despair, folks, so you do. Yeah, I do this so you don't have to. I'm trying to save your sanity. Hey, Scottish Daily Mail, what's it got? Apparently George has got a gap in his front teeth, so I give myself ulcers. Hey, back my peace or lose all of Ukraine, Trump warns. US President issues ultimatum to Zelensky as Vance orders Kyiv to forfeit land to Putin. Who the fuck do these two Muppets think they are? Huh? Do you think fucking Ukraine's going to fold a pack of cards if you walk away, Donny? Maybe they would have if you'd have walked away the first time properly. But what happened was the rest of Europe rallied round. You're being cut out, Trump. Just accept it. As for Vance orders Kyiv, you couldn't make this piss up. You really couldn't. Ah, fuck. Little America's just realising how little it is. And anybody who's seen the interview with the Chinese trade ambassador and getting grilled on American tariffs being placed on Chinese goods, and the American buy 15% of Chinese goods. Is America not get the better set of cards in this one? And what the Chinese trade envoy told the radio presenter was, China's been around for 5,000 years. America's only been around for 250, 300 years. China survived 5,000 years without America. America didn't exist. We'll survive, he said. Fuck it. If they want to stop buying our goods, they're only a small part of the planet. We'll sell them to other people. And he was right. China's been around for 5,000 years. Now it'll be around another 5,000. Will America be around another 250 years? Well, according to what I'm seeing, there's 10 states at the moment thinking about joining Canada. The rest of them maybe just break down into individual countries. Because that's an option for them. It is, after all, United States. It's a union. And all unions can be broken up. This one's going to be. Because the UK, GB, isn't a country like you keep getting fucking told on the telly. It's no, this my country, my country. When they're talking about my country, they're talking about England. They're talking about Scotland, they're talking about Wales, they're talking about Northern Ireland. They're not talking about the GB, UK shit as a whole. For a start, in the UK, there's only two countries, Scotland and England. So GB is a different entity again. But it's not a country, it's a state. And as I say, the Chinese trade ambassador was right. America's only been around the blip of a fucking eye. It might not be here in the blip of another one. For fuck's sake. America's just a third world country with a fucking big military and a lot of billionaires, I believe. That's the way it's being portrayed at the moment. And that's exactly what it is. And that's what the UK is. That's what the UK is becoming. And then the other bits of GB, they're having to put up with the shite and all. Right. What's the Telegraph? What's the fucking... I think that was the Telegraph we just did up. No, wasn't it? It was a fail, wasn't it? Aye. Let's see what the Telegraph's got for us this morning. Trump Zelensky to blame for no peace. The big orange man baby's fucking flipped his lid. Zelensky didn't start it, America did. America wanted rid of their democratically elected Prime Minister, stroke President, who was more aligned to Russia. Right, what's the scum go to the Guardian go for us? The Guardian's cropping up quite often now, folks, in the Scottish News Review. Crimea has lost, says Trump, as he warns Zelensky on peace deal. Shut up, Trump. Nobody's listening to you. Fuck off to Mar-a-Lago and munch burgers while sitting in your gold-plated fucking lobby, you muppet. Okay. And PM pressed to let young Europeans work in UK. I don't see why not. And noisy phone users could face ban on public transport, I'm assuming. Right. That's the nonsense for the Guardian today. Get rid of that crap. What's the scum got for us a day? The scum's got a celebrity story. I thought my face had come off. And this is Freddie Flintoff, the ex-cricketer who became a TV presenter and crashed the car. Okay, so that's what that's about. Next up we have the Metro. Fans conned on great rock and roll swindle. 2 million Oasis scam paying supernova. And that's people that thought they're buying tickets at inflated prices. The tickets don't exist. And whoever the scam operator was has managed to scam them for 2 million quid. Oh dear. Oh dearie dear. So, I don't know what the tickets were going at, but to raise 2 million quid out it must have been damned expensive, eh? Alright. So, a real rant today, folks. I am really, really disappointed. And what's in the press? The nonsense. I'm a wee bit angry about the way the Supreme Court ruling's been handled by politicians and the press. Because it's been dishonest. It's been dishonest in what the judgment was and what it was about. Okay. Now, we've got a star to go, so shall we see what the star's got for us this morning? Definitely shady. Plunder Hall. Oasis fans lose 2 million in dodgy summer reunion ticket scam. And it's a picture of the Gallagher brothers on the front cover. Both looking old men now. Like, hey, they're not before half my age. Not that I'm an old man. Young at heart. I'm Gen X, we don't get old. Right. Dean, Wales is a principality. Yes, it is. Aye. It is. But we could get into that discussion at another time. we can get into that discussion another time on what the UK is. It's a state in more than one translation of the word. I can assure you that it's a real state. But wonderful stuff. As I say, it was a diverse and mixed bag in the press today, and I can understand as we do these programmes daily, folks, why it is people no longer buy newspapers. Why it is that even the digital rags are not doing too well. Because the nonsense, the absolute nonsense, is mind blowing. But it's good fun to have a look at what they use to distract us from the trials of our daily lives. But I hope you enjoyed it today. We'll be back this afternoon at 4, and tomorrow morning, my last one of the week, and as I say, probably Monday morning show won't go ahead. But we'll make that decision tomorrow morning. Okay. Monday afternoon's programme with Two Davies will go ahead, but probably Monday mornings won't, because I've gone away for the weekend and we travel back on Monday. Right, so we'll see you all this afternoon. Don't be late as you're going on the naughty step. Keep getting that way. Alright. Hit the like button. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. We're trying to get to 3,500 and then hopefully on to 4,000 by the end of the year. We'll see how that goes. But we're getting there, slowly but surely. You guys have a nice morning, and I'll see you all at 4 this afternoon. Bye for now.